You know, Tyler Perry is smart. He is smart as a fox. He is smart as a fox. He got us all fooled. We're the fools. How many more chances are we going to give Tyler Perry? If Basic Instinct, A Fall from Grace, and Get Out had a baby, it would be Mea Culpa. This movie had more holes than Swiss cheese with gunshot wounds. Mea Culpa needed Monique, Cat Williams, and Shannon Sharp's sofa to make this movie soar. So in my desire to support Kelly Rowland and my baby Ron Rico Lee, I went against my better judgment and caved and watched Netflix's Mea Culpa. So this review contains many spoilers, so if you haven't watched the movie yet, please turn this video off, go watch the movie and come back to this review. Trust me, I will be right here waiting for you, because I know you come in to look. Anyway, by now, I'm sure many of you can see by the reviews that some critics and some audience members had some major issues with Mea Culpa. First of all, let me say that I am a huge supporter of Tyler Perry. I like this guy. I want to see him win, right? I've been a supporter of his from he was doing his stage plays. I've watched many of his films, gone to the theater to watch his films. If he's a billionaire, I probably single-handedly put $800 million in his pocket. But I've got to call a spade a spade. No matter how much I like Tyler Perry, oh my God, it seems like he is regressing when it comes to the writing. And as a longtime supporter and fan, I'm starting to feel like he's taking me and so many other people for granted. Tyler's movies are like the boyfriend who used to dress up when y'all first met. He used to smell all nice and treat you nice when it was like in the early stages, and now like he sits around, won't wash his basketballs, sits on the couch and farts all the time, like stinky farts. It's like you're not even trying. As I mentioned, the movie stars the chocolate goddess Kelly Rowland and Trevante Rhodes, and so let me just read a quick little synopsis that they have online. Let me read it. So for those who aren't familiar with this movie, you'll know what it's all about. It's supposed to be like an erotic thriller. Featured artist or cold-blooded killer. Who's the real Zaire Malloy? Defense lawyer Mia Harper must uncover the truth before it's too late for the both of them. So I watched this movie over the weekend and I just remember having so many questions. So I'm just going to ask you guys these questions because y'all watched it. And Tyler, who wrote the film, didn't answer these questions for me. These are my questions. Here's my first question. If the girlfriend didn't die, how did brain fragments end up in the painting? And how is there so much blood that it seeped into the neighbor's roof? How? Next question. Mia's supposed to be this hotshot attorney, but we never see her hot nor shotting. You know why? Because ain't no court scene. You know why there's no court scene? Because this is a fundamental recurring problem with Tyler Perry. He doesn't know how to write court scenes. You ever heard of like show and tell? Tyler Perry doesn't show. He tells. He tells you someone is a hotshot attorney. He tells you someone is the best architect. He tells you someone is a great doctor, but he doesn't show you. Think of his other movies like Madea Goes to Jail. Remember when the prosecutor Linda Davis was in front of the judge and she was like, "It's all spelled out there for you, judge." That's not how it works. You have to argue your case. Y'all ever watch Law and Order? Could you see Jack McCoy going before the judge and saying, "It's all spelled out there for you, judge"? The judge would say, "And I want to hear it." It doesn't matter what's in front of the judge. You have to argue your case. We never see that. Well, we did kind of see that. We did kind of see that in A Fall from Grace, but that was a disaster. So that's just my point. So because Tyler Perry doesn't use other writers and he doesn't have the experience writing court dialogue, he just skips it all together. He has access to some of the world's best lawyers, I would imagine, and I would think that he would hire them in a consultant position just to advise him on the lingo. They don't have to write, but just at least he could have written something and said, "Does this make sense?" And they could have said, as a consultant, "No, that's not the verbiage that they would use. This is what they possibly would say." And then that way he doesn't have another writer, but he has someone who has oversight to give him the information to write proper court dialogue. But nope. He just skips it all together. He does it quite often in his films, and it leaves the film lacking. I'm sorry, this was my rant. It was just an observation that I've noticed in a lot of his films. So we're told Mia is a good attorney, but we never see her attorneying, so I call cap on that. Shoot, he could have hired me. I have over 15 years experience watching Law & Order and Law & Order SVU. Thank you very much. I gotta give Tyler a good court scene. Made in Georgia. Okay, back to my questions. Why come was Mia going to this alleged killer's creepy house after hours? The man's house, now it was a sweet little loft, now I ain't gonna lie. I would live there, but I would live there with more lighting. He had the creepiest elevator. It just looked like the scene of a murder. He creepy And his whole place creepy. Why are you going there rather than having this man come to your office? Next question. What client is tell the lawyer, I'm not coming to you, you have to come to me because I don't want to come to your office. My hours of operation are 9 to 5 and you'll come to my, no, I ain't coming to your office. You meet me at my loft. See, he only could have been talking to Mea because he couldn't have been talking to Rogan. I'd have been like, well, don't come then. Don't come. Enjoy your court-appointed attorney because I ain't gonna be there. Why did Mea's brother-in-law, who was, I believe he was the district attorney, he was the DA? Or the DA's assistant, I can't remember his position, but why did he say that he needed to get rid of Zaire's paintings that he had bought because there's a conflict of interest? Next question. So, for a cancer patient fresh out of chemo, because in the episode she came straight from chemo, Mea's mother-in-law sure had a lot of energy to prepare a meal for 5 people. Yeah. Like, why would they, if they care about their mother and she has cancer, why would they even have her making a meal for them anyway? Like, shouldn't they cook for her? I just wanted to know, like, that didn't set off like a red flag for y'all. Because to me, I was like, this woman can't have no damn cancer. Ain't no way. My mommy just come home from chemo and I let her go in the kitchen and start cooking? Red flag. Next question. What was the point of the scene with the art dealer? What was the point of that scene? I was just like, I just felt like this was an opportunity to just show like, oh, I'm very mysterious and I know that you must be sleeping with Zaire Malloy. Like, what was that? Because she ain't add nothing to the film. Nothing. Her and the best friend? Nothing. They ain't add nothing to this film. Next question. Why didn't Jimmy, who was played by Ronrico Lee, why didn't he know that Mea's husband wasn't cheating with that gal? If he's supposed to be like this top-notch private investigator, how he missed that? How did the top private, I mean, like immediately you should be fired off of that. I love you, Ronrico. And I know it ain't your fault because you don't write it. You're just reading it. But how? For me, it was Jimmy's big mistake that set Mea's freak-off session in motion. Next question. Why come was Mea willing to have sex with Zaire right after he finished doing the do with the other gal? I mean, like right after. This man ain't wash his basketballs. He ain't brush his teeth. He ain't scrape his tongue. He just went from one gal to the next and Calendria, Kelly, we've been knowing you since you were 10. We raised you better than that. Next question. How is the dead girlfriend in the Dominican Republic just by coincidence is the same resort? The DR ain't just got one resort, but for some reason she ends up at the same resort that Mea's at. Or Mea ends up at the same resort that she's working at. Why would she even be in the DR? She was Mexican, from what Zaire said, and they met in Italy. And then they're in the States. How'd she get in the DR? How? That's a hell of a coincidence, isn't it? I just could see Tyler just typing away. No, he looked like he was right with his pen. Oh, I know what. She'll be in the DR. Ooh, big coinky dink. It just made no sense. None. Next question. I want the black women to respond to this. Just the black ladies. How many of y'all would let y'all mother-in-law speak to you the way Mea let her crazy mother-in-law with that tragic wig, that tragic red wig, talk to her? If you would, put the praise emoji down in the comment section. I ain't gonna see not a one praise emoji because I know damn well y'all ain't gonna let no mother-in-law talk to y'all that way. Those are my questions. I mean, I had way more questions, but I ain't trying to make this video too long. I just remember watching this movie like, what the frick? What is this? This was not an erotic thriller. This was a comedy based on how many times I laughed at this movie from the beginning to the end. Speaking of the end, why did Kelly, okay, this is my last question. Why did she throw away the cell phone in the garbage at the end when Zaire called her? This gal don't know about block features. I have one old Android phone that I want to upgrade so bad, but I just so cheap. I'm like, I can hold on to this phone till this fall apart. And this girl threw away a perfectly good phone when all she had to do was just block. She could have changed her number, but she just threw it. Like, what is this, the 80s? I mean, but why are you throwing away your cell phone? Like, who does that? Like, it's almost like Tyler was like, because I know he's obsessed with The Devil Wears Prada, because I always hear Meryl Streep's, no, that is all. I could hear it through his characters. He uses it often. But it's like when he saw Andy throwing her cell phone into the fountain in A Devil Wears Prada, he's like, I have to give like my equivalent to that. So I'm going to have Mea throw her phone in the garbage. Mea could have blocked that, brother. Let's get to the performances really quickly before I wrap up. Let me just say that the bright spot for this movie was definitely, for me, Ronrico Lee. I felt like he added some weight to the cast, and I felt like he really grounded the cast. You know, he's like the anchor. He was strong, he was natural. The man can act. There's no doubt about that. Like, he's been acting, he's been in the game for a long time, and he really can act. He was just a natural. He just didn't have great material to work with, but he did the best with what he had. Ronrico, I'm not going to hold that against you and your beautiful smile. I give you a bly. I give you a pass on that one. Kelly's performance. I thought she was decent. I wouldn't say she was extraordinary. I like Kelly, but I got to be honest here. It was just decent. There were moments where I felt like she was really natural. Like when they had the little dinner scene with the crazy mother, and she was like, "Where's my drink?" Like, little things that she would put in just felt very, very natural. But it felt like she was this high-powered attorney, and she had to stick with this very stiff role when there just didn't feel like there was any nuance, or there wasn't any. It's just like this baseline, and then maybe peppered with a few moments where she was like laughing, or, you know, getting her freak on or something like that. But mostly it was just like this, you know? So decent, but not extraordinary at all. Trevante Rhodes, had I not seen his prior work in Moonlight and what is it, Bird Box, I can't remember which one it's called. But had I not seen his performances, I would have sworn he couldn't act. He was very flat as well, very one note, very, you know, like, I'm a broody, arrogant artist and that's my shtick and I'm sticking with it. And I know that he's better than that. Maybe he didn't want to do the film. Maybe he's like, I need this check, but I ain't feeling this script. You think actors don't know when they have a bad script in their hands? Sure they do. It was just very one note, arrogant. And I don't think that their performances ever climaxed. I mean, they climaxed, but the performances never climaxed. So wrapping up on Mea Culpa, was it the worst movie that I've ever seen? No. That honor goes to Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace, followed by Tyler Perry's Temptations. I feel like Tyler, while I want to support him so much, because I really do like Tyler. I really like Tyler. I think he seems to be a really nice guy. He seems to be really good to people. You know, how can I not respect that? How can I not want to support that? But I don't want to be taken for a fool, and I don't want to be taken for granted as an audience member and a longtime supporter. I'm tired. I want to support you not just because you're a good guy. I want to support you because you're excellent in your field. And I'm not going to give him any more excuses because he's been in the business long enough to have picked up on certain things. And it's just like he's just not growing. Tyler, if you're not going to hire writers, if you want to do it all yourself, and I certainly understand wanting to hold on to all your money and you don't want to pay union writers and all that stuff, but you got to improve, man. Just buy scripts online, download scripts. Talk to Ben Affleck. I believe it was Ben Affleck who taught him that, you know, when you're shooting films, you switch off the lenses. I think Tyler was just using one lens. This is in his earlier days, you know. He was just using one lens for his productions. Talk to these people and say, what am I doing wrong, so they can help you? And let somebody who is not like a close friend or family or a fan of yours read your work so they can say, hey, this has holes, that has holes. Because if not, you are not going to grow. And guess what? As much as I like you, I'm not going to continue supporting mediocre work. Now, I said I was not going to watch this film were it not for Kelly Rowland and Ronrico Lee, because I really do like those two and I want to see them win too. But guess what? I ain't into it no more. I feel like Tyler Perry, this is my final note, is angling to get Beyonce in film. I think he's hired her cousin Angie. He's now hired Kelly Rowland. I think he's like, you know, let me graduate. And Beyonce's like, And this ain't gonna help your case. This ain't gonna help your case, bruh. I could just see him too, like, I'll write a special role for you. If you have all these holes in the script, nah. So, step it up, TP. The end.